Turn the lights down low. Put on Lay Lady Lay. And I do have my notes up. I don't know if there's anybody who is in need of goals to be updated. I do still have Marshall Rankins has one for benefiting from cover. I don't know if he took cover in the hunting skirmish. Yeah, like one of those annoying turrets in Fallout. Well, grow something, yeah. Oh, I might be outdated on my notes. On my goals for Father Carter, I have number 2 on part 1 is hit every enemy at least once. Hmm. Those were the ones that you two have. Yeah, you both have that as goal 3. Okay. Okay. Yep, that's what I got from Marshall. Okay, cool. So I'm updated there. It was just that number 2 that I didn't have. I think you may have tried to ask if you can help yourself, which I declined. All right. For Agnito, I have discover a hidden door, passage, or path, kill an enemy without being seen or heard, drop to 0 HP but finish positive, help load or unload a caravan or ship, ask an NPC monk about their school, and travel over a mountain range. Groovy. You got that? Yeah. Army of Darkness is by far like, yeah, my favorite. Oh yeah. Which I think was perfect for everybody. All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. Right. All right. Well, it has been a while, so let me slide over. Let's see. I'm going to hop over here. We were traveling a bit more into the desert after your lake events, enjoying the weather and the view. And A little bit spooky because you've encountered some strange spirits in this here desert and you feel like there might be more. Of course, there was. Well, I'll let you guys elaborate a bit from there, but I'll hop here for just a peek of things and stuff as far as previously. The clincher was the Piccaries. Yeah, so I was my inspiration for the hunting scenes, of course, is Oregon Trail. So I was trying to kind of make it feel like that, where like every round a different animal would be coming around from a different side and stuff for you guys to respond. I will be increasing the speed of those creatures as they trick across moving forward because you guys pretty well mopped them up. So just to increase the challenge there. But yeah, that was the inspiration for this Oregon Trail hunting. That's why you guys could only shoot diagonally or uh, yeah, move like a queen. Meanwhile, back at the campsite, there was food gathered. There were things and stuff. Um, yeah, no, things only got worse for him. He was not fully conscious when he was shot after the jackalope elemental spirit unclaimed him, came forth from the earth, and his soul properly spirited away, pun intended. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And there was two. I don't know if it was part of Father Carter's intent, but Maria was definitely trepidatious about having that sin itself on her shoulders, as it were. Like she's kind of like, I can observe kind of the right thing to do here, but I kind of not comfortable with putting it on myself. She did not ask you to go Kevorkian him. She just a little worried about it, doing it herself. Oh yeah. Well, and you would surely know too, like for all that, you have been blessed to being able to call upon divine intervention. Chances are, if you strayed from an intended path or some such, you probably get a signal to that too. We went too far off base. Yeah. And I think too, there's a parable of Jesus going to the church and finding people gambling there and being offended and throwing a tantrum and tipping the tables over. In his defense, I'm pretty sure he was only upset that they were doing that in God's house. I don't think he was upset that they were gambling in and of itself. I think he's like, this isn't the place for that, you jerks. You know what I mean? Have some respect. Yeah. So yeah, you guys are welcome to earn a low-hanging Benny for any additions you'd like to add to recapping. Hopefully things are coming back memory-wise. Again, with the system here, you do start with your 3 whites. What's that? Sorry, sir? I think we can slide one in there. Any perspectives or things significantly prominent to the good marshal or the good physicist? Aye, that you did. And definitely caused one of your competitors to be upset. As soon as you revealed that you had the pickeries, they're like, ah. Yeah, I will actually let me pop that onto the token layer here. That will be Mr. Kai. Yeah. Well, they haven't they haven't elaborated, but you've definitely read trepidation in the others being involved. In particular, Blackthorn, Dakota, both kind of expressing a lack of desire to venture forth. You do get the impression there's something deeper going on there. Could be spiritual, cultural. Maybe they're afraid of bears and they saw a bear. They're not telling you, but something has set them off where they're like, somebody else do that, please. Dakota, put your friends to work. Oh no, those were supernatural evil death rabbits with horns, I'll have you know. uh, I do love that you do have that bragging right to be like, listen, we saved you from rabbits, so guess what? Yeah. but but one of them was real big. Yeah, because it was Agnito's hand blasting that really broke that thing down. Hmm. This week on Legends of the West. We've all heard the tales of some of these great heroes, but there was one finger blaster. His name was once lost to the annals of history. Doesn't matter what side of the Mississippi you were on, if he pointed at you. Okay, so moving on. So, yes, you guys had more rabbits. So, where we had left off, you, of course, had agreed at Dakota's request to venture forth and explore the strangeness. Two of you know that you are incredibly close to a landmark you are to be anticipating, and so that adds a little extra layer of worry as you're like, oh, weird things seem to be happening at these landmarks, so here we go. Very fog and mist covered as you're approaching. And that indeed was where we were leaving off. You will have had a little bit of time to travel out. You'll have had time to make your preparations. If there is anything you very specifically want to note, add, etc., prior to entering the fog. And that I will leave between yourselves to discuss as you will. Do we need rope? Do we need water? Do we need machine guns? Good thing you have Ogneto. He is one, apparently. You're an all-star. Anyone? Go play? At the looks of the fog there. Yeah, absolutely. When you do get closer in, just for the sake of funsies, let me go ahead and throw. Yes, yes, from the south, at least from the orientation of this map. You're actually moving southward. Um, so yeah, south to north. Yes. Yeah, it's fairly even on the ground level. Those of you who are familiar with the map, those will be people not named Ogneto. You know that the strange landmark structure is supposed to be elevated, so you don't believe that this is that thing. And again, to reiterate, I don't know how much you have wanted to share with your friend Ogneto about what you two have shared and the map itself. That's up for you guys, but I don't believe it has come up yet in a group share or discussion. I don't even know necessarily that Rankins and Carter have discussed what they have shared in any kind of depth. And so, no, I don't think so. I do think that I established like you're both aware that you shared it, but yeah, kind of an unspoken thing, at least thus far. And if you are zoomed in on the right-hand side of the map with the image, if you scroll to your left now, bottom right of panel A, you'll find your horses tethered and yourselves one of the entrances on these walls. um, let's see. I think for the sake of, yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, we're good there. Lift, lift. You do, as you approach closer, you are going to see the walls themselves. This is a long abandoned place. There is some decay, but the desert hasn't eroded the strange glyphs that are patterned all across the walls. None of your characters, to my knowledge, are familiar with the Mayan civilization, but if you have a special lore history skill, you might be able to roll it for some extra reference or something similar. It would not be common knowledge. This ain't where Jesus walked that you know of. Um, uh, there's a chance, actually. I will go ahead and roll that. Let's see what you get with that there. So, and I'm allowing this with an overlap of your knowledge of native languages, and you're welcome to elaborate as you like, but you will have had an opportunity in your past to discuss languages and different peoples of the American continents. And so you'll be aware that these glyphs don't match up with any of the languages you know. So it is definitely unfamiliar, but still has that ancient classic feel. And the way that you kind of read into patterns from studying languages, there is a feeling of ritual. It has like an occult vibe to it. This is a strange complex with strange writings on the wall from an unknown culture. So that will shiver and resonate with you a little bit. All right. Can I please get, as you guys are stepping forth, a spirit check? Hmm. I'll say so. And from Magneto? Oh, no problem. Yep. Ooh. Explosion. I mean, are you sure? You're welcome to keep the one if you want. All right. So, uh, I'm going to give Goose an equivalent boost because of your previous occult. You're kind of already bracing yourself to the strangeness. Father Carter and Ogneto, you have your own reasons to resist spiritual oddities for your own reasons, of course. You're unsure. You don't see anyone present, but you're fairly certain you heard whispering, and it comes from the left close to you, the right far away, echoing far ahead, something behind you. It is. These whispers come out of nowhere, and you can't discern what they're saying, but you do feel as if something passes over you, kind of a little bit of a weight, and it dissipates. But it definitely will give you a little bit of a shiver. And those whispers will continue as you're moving through this place. That might make it all the more creepy, sir. All right. Father Carter charging up ahead there. Agneto, as you are moving up, can I please get a survival check from all three of you? I presume you all to be on alert and observant. Ooh, all right. Um, with Father Carter in the lead, Marshal Rankins, you have a moment. If you can succeed with an agility check, you can catch Father Carter before he makes his next step. Ooh, you can see a slight shifting of the sands. It's ever so slight. Thought maybe it was a trick of the light when the sun shines through the fog here and there. The sand itself, just a little circle there, enough for one person to stand in, shifts a little bit, kind of ripples. There is room to move around it, perhaps, squeezing along the walls and stuff. But yeah, central little circular area. It is not a pit. It is all still flat. Here and there, few and far between, but yeah. The rock shimmers and disappears. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. As you're starting to move in there, you do see, and it looks like the walls used to be kind of solid around there. They don't look like natural openings. There could have been an archway or a door there, perhaps, but from your view, it just looks like, oh, that the circle is broken there. And you can see outward, the canyon surrounds. So, as you guys are moving forward, oh, go ahead, Mr. Ognido. Can I please get a notice check from Father Carter and from Ognido? You're not allowed. All right, so full disclosure, I do not have an art representation for one of the items you find. I do have one here for what Mr. Agnito will acquire, locate. And you will see a handout called Mayan Calendar Disc. And that, Mr. Agnito, you will see propped up against the edge, that outer wall. Father Carter, you find it's a set of jade amulets that are linked together, engraved with protective symbols. Looks like something perhaps a shaman or chief might wear. And again, jade is the primary mineral. There are also beads carved in the same style, of course, as the engravings on the walls. Obviously, but don't channel spoilers from other sources. That'll protect you from the taint, Father. What's the taint? Perineum. Si, senor. That is, when you're holding it up, it's about the size around of a steering wheel. And, pardon, as you're picking up and you're looking at it, it looks like uh, when you look at the image there, it looks like the rings themselves, each ring, except for the outermost, can slide and move and create different orientations and arrangements. You just see like, oh, these little rings can move around. Interesting. Awesome. Oh, please do, sir. And this is all coming into you when he shows up the discs, all the symbols and everything. Wow, 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 wow. So, while many of the symbols on the walls, as those start to kind of shimmer and become clear to you to be able to read, some of them are too faded to come through, so it's kind of disjointed. Sometimes you get direction, sometimes you get, is this the telling of a legend? Are they referring to a hero or a plant? Sometimes it's hard to tell, but you can kind of pick up where things are being referenced. The disc itself, you immediately get just big sensation, autumn. That is the central figure. This is the disc forefall. Agnito, can you give me a smarts roll, please? All right. When Father Carter identifies this as the autumn disc, your first thought is, where are the other three? But in character, you feel that compulsion like, ooh, that means that this is part of a set. If this is dedicated to that, there's got to be. For the record, I didn't think you'd fail that. Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah. Well, some are okay with that. But I mean, you can have like demigods or just revered, sanctified. Yeah. Um, that being said, like the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, the Trinity is oddly still monotheistic somehow. Um, According to the numbers I learned in kindergarten, that's not true, but there's a really great description of that from the Jesus in Religulous, like a guy who plays Jesus at a place that puts on biblical performances. And he refers to the states of energy where water can be frozen to ice, it can be heated to steam, it can be liquid form as just water. So can you see the Trinity as being. Anyway, I thought it's a great metaphor. I digress. Father Carter has found some jade amulets that will protect you from the Shadowlands taint, and Ognito has found a Mayan calendar disc. I like that you're taking ownership of Hadleyburg like that. There are symbols that you get an impression of different animals, and they are animals that you may or may not recognize. Like you might have heard about like jungle cats and the like, but these are not creatures indigenous to the area in which you are finding here. Maybe the snake, like everybody's got snakes, but that there looks like a cat or a bear, and that doesn't really match up. Yeah, no, that's not a bear because the tail wraps around the bead. Nope. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. And some leafy designs as well that don't match the foliage. So, yeah, this is getting closer, yes. Kind of more reminiscent of larger palm fronds than would be, the shrubberies about your locale. Correct. You can. You could climb through that little crack if you wanted, up and over, through, kind of. But yeah, you can definitely see through there. Again, just the crumbling state of some of the walls. Yeah, of course. Indeed. You feel nothing strange when you pop your head through the wall. Yep. All right. Indeed. Can I please get a notice check from everybody? You're moving through into a little slightly different zone there. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Mr. Agnito, your eyes catch the sun glinting through the fog to shine off of something distant in the brush. Your eyes are keenly looking out for something familiar, and there doth it glint. Mr. Carter, at thy feet, I am going to present to you. Now in the handouts is one called Mayan Moon Disk. This one is much smaller. You do see uh, the rings can move just as the other one, but this one is smaller, more focused. What you read into this, because of your, um, let me see, because you guys haven't been like stopping to camp, so 10 minutes is fair to have been within the range. From this, you are going to pick up the impression of the waning, no, waxing crescent. So it would be like the fingernail, the shine is going to be on the left, but it's the sliver curve, if that makes sense. As far as like moon phases, awesome. So yes, that is what you have located. And Marshall Rankins, on the lookout yourself and in protective mode, you see again that shimmering, shifting sand in the corridor ahead. All right. And following where you see the glint there, you find another Mayan calendar disc. It is a little different. Mm. As under Marshal Rankin's boot, he crushes a rattlesnake scorpion or skeleton. Father Carter, cold, winter. That skeleton really crumbles to dust under your foot, and you realize, for all of the strange whispers, that even after Father Carter cast his divinity, not able to discern full words being spoken, that's the only sign of life, like animal life. You haven't seen any critters, you haven't seen any droppings, you haven't seen, but this skeleton here on the outskirts, and it looks as if it has been dead for a very, very, very long time. Interessante. Good Marshal, can you please roll for me a notice check? After your boot had crushed one thing underfoot, watching your step, you realize you're about to bring your foot down on what is revealed in the handout called Mayan Puzzle Cube. Don't be a square. Yes. After some searching and traveling a bit, being careful. So, yeah, what you discern on this cube, the symbols are pretty simple. It looks like a way of educating a young child. You believe you're not 100%, but seems like you could line up what would represent numbers and some shapes, some symbols for creatures. So it looks like an educational device, kind of like a Rubik's Cube. Yeah, and it does move like a Rubik's Cube, all of those little squares, vertical, horizontal. It's a little bit shaky to move at first. Shake some dust out of it, smooths out. Click, 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 click. It feels satisfying. You don't get the impression that it would be like an equation. It would be more like lining it up in sequence and together. Like you'd want to get all the numbers together in a row and get all of the alphabet letters in a row and get all of the animals lined up in a row somehow, like on a face. Oh, absolutely correct. Yeah, so each face of the cube, like the nine squares, like you would presume you want a face that has the numbers lined up and then a face that has alphabet lined up, etc. Yep. All right. As you are moving along, do let me know as we go through the zones. I'll give you an opportunity to either make a smarts check or a notice check as to indicate you either be helping searching or kind of playing with the cube. You could trust the fine eyes of your companions. Maybe not ears, but eyes definitely. So yeah, yeah. As you are coming through this area here, go ahead with a notice check for the Marshal and for Carter. For Agneto, again, each of these opportunities you can choose smarts to play with the puzzle or notice to help with your friend's search. All right. Yep. Go for it. Father Carter and Marshal Rankins, you don't observe anything special or shiny glinting through. You do see the foliage seems to be thicker around the canyon walls here, as opposed to inside the walls. The things growing inside the walls don't seem to grow very well, but the further out you get, it just seems to be more growth, as it were. All right. Yes, a little bit. For in K, you are pretty well on your way to, as you're kind of looking at it, this is kind of your tester round. You're seeing how they move, kind of plotting like when you move this center thing, okay, so that's going to move this ring around, which changes all of the faces this way. So you're getting familiar with it and pretty comfortable, like, oh ho ho, this is, even though it's for kids, like it's something fun for all ages, and you can dive right in. So you're going to be well on your way to completing a face side as your companions continue to hustle on. And another opening in the wall. Indeed. Can I please? Let's have another round of your notice and smarts or notice. So something funny, Marshall Rankins keeps on landing on the exact square where I have my indicators. Stop right here. What am I about to step on? Ooh, getting along with another face there. Well done, Father Carter. Ooh, got an explosion there with a booster. So, our good Marshall Rankins is going to find himself mostly covered by the dust, but because, again, you're watching out where your feet go, you nearly step on the edge of what you recognize to be another one of those calendar discs. While Father Carter, looking ahead, is going to see two of those puzzle cubes in the brush. One is kind of by the wall, and another one a little bit more in the open. And while you turn to show off your cubes, Marshall Rankins will be uncovering from the sand a the calendar disc itself. And Father Carter, with that lingering divine assistance, you will be able to discern spring. That's all the fun you get. Show's over. That's enough of that. It's just silly. All right. You remain unthreatened, besides the eerie whispering that comes in and the spooky, deteriorated nature of the fog covered maze. But a couple of puzzle cubes, and seeing as that they're educational, I mean, you can discern that obviously there was a presence. Whomever had built this place, it had welcomed youth to some degree, apparently. Yeah. Oh, I. And some fancy, fun mechanicals, in the way the puzzle cubes work and the sliding discs, because those discs are carved stone. Indeed. So as another opening to the outer ring, and can I please have a round of checks on the notice and/or smarts? All right, you can add that in. Yeah. Ooh, Nito's coming really along, solving up to 4 phases. Yeah, excellente. So, our good Marshal and his keen eye is going to see a familiar glint This calendar disc is leaning against the canyon wall. Very clear, very plain, uncovered. You see it shining happily like the summer sun that it is. Of course, Father Carter's refresh will assist in being like, oh, yes, we have found summer. Not that you needed that confirmation, it being number 4. You don't need a common knowledge roll for that. You've got it. Oh, yeah, that's curious too. Like, what kind of property is that? As far as the source of the sun, you do get breaks in through the fog. As far as the material itself glinting is curious because, to your best knowledge, the feel, the look, everything tells you that they're carved of stone. No, you're popping your head in there. All right. Can I please get a notice check from you, Mr. Agnito, and from Father Carter and Marshall Rankins? Ba-boom. So, Father Carter, you can see that Marshall Rankins is about to step on another puzzle cube over here. But Marshall Rankins is distracted because, as much as Agnito isn't climbing, moving through the hole in the wall, looking over, you can see past him shifting sands, right about where he's leaning over. Hmm. What was that? Sorry. Mm. So the kind of rippling wave, when you poke it with the stick disappears from your hand. It kind of shines. Whoop. The whole damn stick is gone from your hand now. It seemed as if it were a poof. Let me have you roll. Notice will be good for that. It's to see how keen your eye is. Hard to tell. You might want to experiment further, but it seems like the poof may have been made of particulate, as if the stick lost its stickiness before the poof. You're unsure. Like, well, did it disintegrate in a poof or did it wholly poof away? Hard to tell. Marshall Rankins absolutely saw that. Father Carter may or may not be distracted by getting the cube. May be too many things in the way there. especially Agnito's finger, because they're dangerous. But of course, for science, you're welcome to put your finger in there. Improvise a device from common resources. Oh, just a little firecracker. Okay, cool. All right. You drop it in. You see it poof away. And wait in the silence. Marshall, a notice check, please. Marshall, you're not sure if you were anticipating the pop or if you did hear a pop very distantly. Certainly not one here, but you're like, I might have heard something, but it was far away. Agnito and Father Carter, you 100% did not hear anything. If you had an opportunity to try it again and focus, um, you might be able to discern if it was just your mind or if you actually did hear something. But part of you wonders if you were just expecting the pop and invented it. It is. I didn't for because you're not in a combat situation or anything. You really have. You can kind of take a 10 on it if that makes sense. That's an old kind of term. But yeah, since you're not under duress or anything, you can really take the time. And like you said, it is simple enough to work that up and have it be functional. Father Carter looks like he's about to be taking off. Are you not hanging out with your buddies on their firecracker in the toilet experiment over here? All right. I will then, can I please have a notice check from Father Carter and Agnito as you toss again the lit firecracker type bullet? Go ahead, sorry. And I will need a notice from the good marshal. All right, so the marshal is definitely going to hear distant echo, firecracker kind of going off. Sounds like it's far, kind of, if you're looking where you're standing there, directly at Agnito, directly across, kind of in an echo. because you hear the sound reverberate kind of equally on both sides among the walls. So you think probably over in that direction. Can I have you roll a smarts roll, Mr. Marshall? If you're not mistaken, that's about where that other shifting sand was on the other side. And lining those up, they appear to be on those cardinal compass points. Mr. Carter is going to see. You're familiar with the basic shape of a mirror. This, you see the handle, you see the circular frame, but it is pure black, polished obsidian, the intricate Mayan symbols carved into it. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you're able to do so because the reflective side will reflect when the sun breaks through the fog. And you see the carvings similar to the discs and the calendar's discs, the moon disc and calendar disc, symbols kind of carved around. In the main center are three faces, one looking left, one looking right, one looking at you. Just men's faces carved into it of that familiar style. Not at all. Nothing that speaks words, nothing written, as it were. While Father Carter is consulting his spell book, I mean the Holy Bible, Marshall Rinkins and Agnito. Agnito, of course, you didn't hear anything, but the good Marshall definitely did. All right, Marshall Rinkins, you see Agnito disappear. Oh, I accidentally. Just a sec. Oh my gosh. Oh, I know what's going on. All right, let me. There we go. To confirm, Agnito, I saw you move there. Did you move away and back? Okay. Oh my gosh, why won't it let me just. Agnito rematerializes in front of you. Agnito, you feel fine. No temperature change. Your hands haven't melted. Your hat still intact. Agnito, which one? Left or right? No, I'm kidding. I joke, you're not a Klingon now. Yes. All right. So please let Agnito and Marshall Rankins know, what does your barrier look like? Because it does say in the description that you can make it out of a variety of forms. So, yeah. Okay, near invisible. So they'll be able to see the ripples in the air and like a cocoon around you. Ah, very cool. Light bending. And then you are looking into the mirror through the barrier. That way you can still kind of see. All right. So in your hand through the barrier, when you look through the barrier and see your hand holding the mirror on the other side, your hand and your friends that you know on the other side, you see the visual ripples, the effect. The mirror itself still looks as clear as day. No interference, even though you know that the barrier is between the two of you. Uh, so here's the thing. Yes, but with a twist. So I'm going to send this to you, and I would like you to tell me what you see based on this item's description. And I'm sending this to you in the Discord chat in a direct message. And then I also made it in a form so you can copy paste it onto your sheet as an item or in your notes or however you like to do. Yeah. So you can take that as it is, but also too, I'd love to know your response. While you are considering your response, Agnito and Marshall, after experimenting with the strange teleporting sand circle, you see the father holding a mirror outside of the barrier, but there is definitely a barrier shimmering, and in his hand again, a hand mirror carved of obsidian, marked with those same symbols. Pure black, hard material, but still carved just as fine as the discs. Mmm, double-edged. All right. Um, I like, and that, yeah, that fits into the latter part of the description. All right. So thank you for that, good sir. You may respond as you will to your friends and act as you will. The mirror itself doesn't, again, there's no heat, there's no glow, there's no nothing, but in the reflection, you see and recognize very clearly kind of yourself and some intent. Like you fully understand what you gleaned from it. It's not a secret, it's not a tricky metaphor. You just get full on the view, kind of instinctively. It does not. But again, the mirror itself, clear as day. Agnito and Marshall, as he is turning, you guys can see the mirror in his hand through the sides of the barrier where Father Carter himself on the inside is obscured. So you can tell that he's moving because you see the hand in the mirror very clearly. Or sorry, just the mirror. Hand still obscured too. So for a point while he's turning, it's as if that mirror is floating. And then he'll come circle around and the hand will come into view. Father Carter, hopefully attached to it on the other side of that barrier. Are you implying, Father Carter, that that thing is just totally a normal shiny mirror? Oh, okay. Nice. That's fair too, yeah. Nice. I hadn't even thought of that. That's so rad. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention Agnito. When you popped into the other side over there, you did in fact see the remnants of two firecrackers and one stick. All right. So you will be moving in the. Can I get a smarts check from anyone who would like? This is just kind of a free kind of insight with recent discussions. Well, Agnito is successful. He's on the ball there, so he'll be the first one to be like, hey, we're on the inner ring. Chances are the other shifting sands to confirm would be on the next ring over. The wall separates you from that ring. You've moved into an inner ring. Just a reflection on your surroundings and the structure. If you were specifically wanting to hunt down that northern point you suspect, it would likely be like the other three have been on that outer ring, if you will. But you please do carry on as you will. You do see a crack in the wall there. All right. You want to give me a notice check? Give me them ducats. So, pinned to the far wall that you will see, kind of a dead end along that corridor, is it's a set of strings with knots at different levels. It kind of looks like how can I best say? So if you were to have a dream catcher hanging on the wall, but it was square shaped, and the web was instead just vertical lines with knots at different levels, and it is a little bit smaller than the calendar discs, bigger than the moon disc you found. Mm-hmm. Yep, hanging right up against that wall. If you would like to take a very close look, let's see. You do have investigation at D8. Yeah, you are definitely educated there. Can I please have you do your investigation? Wow, 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 wow. Um, and question before I reveal the results here. Oh, Carter will BRB. Will you reveal your findings? Will you muse out loud or will you keep it to yourself? Will it be a. There you are. Mayan Kipu knots. You can see that you can shift the strings. There is an order that comes into them. You don't know necessarily what they specifically represent, but it is placed in a on the wall there, place of importance, has been preserved. So it looks functional rather than decorative because it has a function that is difficult to discern, but must be a record of something because it hangs on the wall and can move and stuff. As opposed to being static, like it's not the Ten Commandments hanging on the wall where those don't change, if that makes sense. Anyway, you can. It slides very smooth. You, by looking at it, expected it to be coarse, but it feels silky smooth. Besides that, it shifts. It doesn't help you figure out its function, but moves smooth. Now he doesn't want you to look at the Kipu knots. No, Marshall, get. It appears Father Carter had been holding it for a while and might need just a minute while he desecrates the ruins further. So Agnito will be coming up on what appears to be another opening, and then roll openings. A little bit of a crossroads here. And the father is done. Zip. What was that? Sorry? Right? Doodle-doodle-doodle-doo. You want to go ahead and make a notice check for me, good father? Stacked neatly, not haphazardly, against the wall, right in front of you, are three bowls. They are not painted, they are lightly carved on the outside and are completely smooth on the inside. Symbols and the like, yes. This similar symbols, of course, that you've been encountering. Perhaps ever. So, one bowl appears to be depicting war. One bowl appears to be depicting the passage of time or history, and the other bowl appears to be depicting family. Bloop. Bloop. So you can see in the very center, you're going to see what looks like kind of an empty well. You're going to see three pillars that surround the well-looking shape. These ancient-looking pedestals have, as you approach, you can see more detail, again, more carvings that can be discerned, perhaps. There are circular indentations, like hollow circles carved into the face of each one, and the tops are kind of hollowed out in the top, kind of concave circular shape. So they kind of like curve in at the tops. By all means, sir. I would like to get a smarts check from Mr. Agnito while Father Carter, you see that the symbols, as suggested by Agnito, the symbols that you read match the symbols of the bowls. Wow, Agnito. You know, it would fit perfectly in those little circle holes is not the calendar discs, but that moon disc is the perfect shape. Alas, there are 3 holes and you only have 1. Along with your smarts, when you're looking at, when Father Carter confirms that the symbols match between the bowls and the pillars as suggested, what tickles you is bowls are for holding things. Flat, empty, smooth, and same height, surrounding walls in depth. I'm pretty sure you made it rain once. You have in fact done that. All right. Your conjured water will fill very tiny depth of the well, and then you see the water recede as if it is seeping into the outer rim. Marshall Rankins, can I get a notice check? You hear what kind of sounds like fire crackling, something sparking, and then the water dissipates, and there's nothing but the silence, accompanied by your breathing. But you definitely heard very distant and as if coming from below sparks, crackling, some sort. Exactly. Ogneto, that's what that was. You know the sound of water on electricity, but so despite your being hard of hearing, your ear is tuned to specific things, and that sounded peculiar, like, and incredibly out of place. Absolutely. The Baghdad battery. Also, too, the pyramid. I saw a thing that compares the pyramid to like the Tesla coil, and something about like water running on limestone and stuff. I'm not a doctor; I just play one on TV, but check it out if you're into that sort of thing. I don't know how like ancient aliens conspiratorial the thing was, so I don't want to send you guys down a rabbit hole of strange, but it was like kind of a passing thing, like, oh, that's fascinating. Like it was side by side kind of picture diagram of the layout of the Great Pyramid of Giza and a Tesla coil. I was like, hey, cool. I like parallels. Anyway, so as far bloop. Right? You guys are welcome to make notice checks. There may or may not be anything you're supposed to notice. You don't see anything out here. There is sand, a little bit of brush on the walls. Um, I will allow you to make a, well, from there, never mind, I'll let you continue. Marshal Rankins joining Father Carter on his outing. You two notice the shrubberies. You keenly discern there doesn't appear to be anything of note or shiny or of interest among these innermost rings. Continuing about. Rankins has a really great notice check there. Uh, so, Agnito and Carter, you haven't moved yet. Let me have Rankins pause, and I'll get an extra check. Father Carter, where will your travels take you? All right. Go ahead and with your notice, Marshal Rankins' notice is going to serve here. And I'm just curious to see what the good father gets before announcing everybody's results there. All righty. Don't go yet, Marshal. Something will catch your eye. So for the three of you, I will start north to south. So you will see in the Mayan Ruins folder the revealing of two more discs found respectively by the Marshal and by Agnito. Agnito, yours looks similar to the other. Marshal Rankin's, yours is hollow. It is more of a ring almost than I guess you'd say disc, but it's still called disc on the label of the handout. And our good Father Carter. This is one I really want to. I was being picky about with the art, but let me go ahead and give you this here. And you can, of course, share your findings with Agnito, who might share interest as well. And I'm not trying to whisper this, I'm just doing the at because it's for the good father, or the marshal. The marshal you passed by as you were running around, that had caught your eye. And then when you get to the north, I'll have you do another roll at your leisure. So you guys are all standing around now, and this doesn't require a check. The marshal's check was for something with the crystal that he found, depending on what he wants to do with it. You will all see, kind of in that little intersection where you met, leaning in that corner, you'll see those drums. Marshal Rankins, I would like you to know, do you leave the crystal? Do you pick it up? Do you put it in your pocket? Do you hold it in your hand? What do you do with it? Put it in your hat? All right. Um, yeah, can I get, oh, you're gonna run around. Uh, you could just try to scramble over the wall if you want. You want to give me an athletics check over at the other side, or you can run around. All right, that's fair. Because your eye is keen to be drawn to it, can confirm you see another right at the northern compass point compared to the others. And remember that rock? You put a rock in the one on the south, you see it lying just outside the circle. Bloop. All right. Voop. Poof. All right. And let me. It is still spinning a little bit and then settles in the sand. Yeah, of course. You want to jam out a biddy for us? Yeah. And the marshal had asked you if you know how to play. Um, First answer, no, but let's see if he can adjust to the unique acoustics of these devices. There it is. Is there a good, like, a common hymn that you'd be able to kind of drum out the tone to that he would know? Amazing Grace or something like that? Ah, very nice. So it's a trio, and all three of them are different sizes. And from what you can tell, the somewhat in some places faded or eroded away. The paintings that were on the outside are purely decorative. They don't match anything else specifically as far as catching your eye. Festive scenes of, it looks like, some kind of partying, dancing ceremony, but it is more decorative than like language, if you will. Meanwhile, yeah, Agnito does not like being by himself back at Central Point. Okay. Oh, as far as their discoveries, or oh, so they get slightly inappropriately punny with it. I don't. I mean, this isn't NASA, I presume. Come on. Scientists wondering where to take Uranus out to dinner first. Rabois? Is that like Bob Loblaw, who of course has a law blog? That's from Arrested Development. Bob Loblaw's law blog. Anyway, you're all right. You've now been joined by your companions. You both have shiny objects. Everyone has something shiny. And so do you meet here under the passing noon sun. Not that you can tell. They don't appear to have a correspondence, other than being, of course, celestial in their depiction, if you will. Nope. It is a D8, if you will. That is the shape. Thank you. I didn't know the name of the oid. Yes, 100%. And sharp, like a Lego. Boom shakalaka. Scientists say it will take a specially designed craft to penetrate the atmosphere of Uranus. Ribbed for its pleasure. Ah, there it is. uh, and so. Well, you would want to have your friend interpret, as he's been pretty good at doing so far. The symbols on the bowls might hint at contents. Wild Die is going to help you out there. Good. Very nice. Guided by the Lord through all of this. So the disc that was found by Ogneto represents a waning crescent. That would be the sliver on the other side, the right side. Oh, sorry, Goose. Do you want a moment to restart? I don't know if you can hear us. Cognito on there. Yes. Excellent. Welcome back. Oh. Oh. That's why. No more of that. It's just silly. The discs, again, the one that Agnito had found represents the waning crescent sliver on the right. The one found by the marshal that was hollow, you discern, represents a full moon, the light of which is represented by there not being solid mass in the center. But they are all shaped to fit the circles that are present in the pillars. Can I get a smarts check from you? Ooh, all right. To your best guess, it would be progressive, left to right. So the full moon going in the center and the crescents on the left and right, respectively. And, mhm. And joom, joom, joom. Each one fits in as if it were its home. And then you see when the last one is placed on all three of them, the stone of the pillar smooths over. There is no more circle. Uh-oh. We completely lost Goose. Oh, that's not fun. See, I just saw the GIF posted there. Yeah. No. So it looks like the pillars just ate the discs that you provided, and you no longer see the discs. You see smooth pillar. Bowls on top, still. You are welcome amongst yourselves. Can I please get a smarts check from you guys? I will allow the smarts roll first. And Agnito, a great roll as well. So as far as, hey, welcome back. Can you hear us? Oh yeah. Sometimes that's what it needs. Uh, Muy excelente. So the the depictions on pillars and bowls, again representing it looks like battle, family, history, or passage, or some such. The amulet, you can match up some symbols of, again, you saw it as perhaps being leader or shamanistic. You're determining it could be familial and of reverence, perhaps, representing grandparent and passage. So you kind of figure if there's any match, it would be Jade Amulet selection you found to that family spot. Agnito will immediately kick off and say, passage and such kind of represents record keeping, and you'll remember something hanging on a wall. Nothing in any of the things you have found represent battle, but you do know there might be a nook or cranny that you've not yet passed of this place. Yoink. Nothing happens when you take it from the wall. Marshall Rankins, that little nook there is where Agnito had found his moon disk. Um, for the sake of, I am going to take off the lighting for you and let you just have a view of, and then just because you guys have been through, you've seen there doesn't appear to be living things besides shrubbery. So I will take off barrier constructs and lighting restrictions and allow you to have full purview to kind of look around and move about and maybe see what you see and do what you do. Can I please get a notice check from everybody? Father Carter, are you staying at central location while the other two are bounding about? All right. Everyone being thorough, Father Carter, you don't see anything strange or different or changing at your location. Nito, it looks like this area has been cleared through. You don't see a bug, a snake, a bird, nothing in your range there along that arc. And Marshal Rankins, you thought you saw something to the north just as you were about to leave and give up in this area around the upper curve. And you do realize this was an area that nobody had yet passed by. And you did get a raise on your success. It's hard to see, blending in with the sand, hiding in the shadow with the shrubbery. There you are, sir. Oh, let me actually. Oh my gosh, I hate the way it copy pastes. Pretend you saw nothing. Oh, okay, good. There are no spoilers about this special dagger. There you go. Oh, and I have. That is your last handout. Again, I'll have some of the others, but I'm being picky about their depiction because I didn't want them to be too copycatty. And you may not have noticed it without the good father's direction of the depiction of battle on the bowl and the pillar. Just for the shape of weapon, kind of triggered that in your brain. as a different thing to look out for than shifting sands, if you will. Yes. Wee. Whiffing through the air. It has pretty good weight, but it's also dull edged. It's not something, unless you wanted to just bludgeon somebody to prove a point, it's not functional as a weapon other than to club, even though it's clearly in the shape of a dagger. Yeah, yeah, very clear. One bowl remains empty. All right. The dagger now rests in the bowl next to the others. Oh, Agnito wants privacy. And as you stand reflecting on the lack of events, can I please get from you your choice of investigation or notice, or I'll allow for occult, not strictly faith, but for the sake of fringe things. And that's for everybody. As you're kind of standing around looking at each other, looking at the pillars, feeling pretty confident about your choices and progression. Yes, it is. Ah. Make it rain, sir. Aye, that it is. Would the good doctor and the good marshal like to make a similar roll? Ah. I'll go ahead and skip that. Mm, actually, I'll go ahead and that can just go red. Well, that served its purpose. It's up to you if you want to do like an investigation, an occult, something governed by smarts that could apply to thinking and discerning and kind of looking at the pieces, clues, and the like. And you may twirl your mustache in confusion at your leisure with that roll. Ooh. All right. So, Agnito, you will have the eureka moment first as you're looking at the pillars itself, because you're kind of like, what you're doing is you're trying to remember again, the stone swallowed up the discs, so the moon discs aren't there anymore. But then you just start thinking moon, moon, moon. As again, Carter and Rankins, you're enjoying the sun beating down on you, the warmth, the heat, the dry. Again, Agnito, those were moon discs, as Father Carter and Marshall Rankins enjoy the heat of the sun. Father Carter, you may have yourself a Benny. Oh no, Goose had Discord freeze again. I'll give everyone a Benny. You all helped, and you had good occult rules there. So Agnito will have a eureka moment, but Father Carter will kind of sigh and be like, we gotta wait for the moon. Oh. Dot dot dot. Hey Ray, welcome back. So there has been an offer, as the group has realized that you'll likely have to wait for anything unique to happen for the moon to arrive. Agnito has offered to skillet up some tea. Indeed. Haha, he's lost in the maze again. Yes, nice. Doodle-doodle-doodle-doo. Here, the horses all kind of shuffle at your approach. Looks like they've been gnawing a little bit at the branches there, but not a lot. They might be thirsty and hungry themselves. Doodle-doodle-doo-doo-doo. Muy excelente. Get a little breath. Do you have a brush for your horse? I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily part of like equipment offerings as far as a horse brush, but having played Red Dead Redemption, I like the fact that brushing a horse is endears yourself to it, but is also hygienic. So you know. Side note: can I please? Yes. One tooth, no fang, no. I will let you roll a fate roll. You can choose any dice, but before you roll it, choose even or odd. All right, and with the number 40 out of 100, um, it's not very spectacular quality. It is a well-used, average quality brush. It could be fancier and in better shape, but it'll certainly do the trick. It won't hurt the horse or anything. It's just well worn, well used. Grandpa's horse brush. And in the meanwhile, can I please have a survival roll from our friend Agnito in the preparation of sustenance for you and your friends? Yeah, you did. You promised to change their lives. It's gonna do as expected. It's trail, at least it's not out of a skillet anymore, but yeah, yeah. For all that one can and should anticipate. And you guys will have a number of hours before the sun will turn to dusk and the moon will arise if you're waiting for nightfall. As such, you are welcome to share stories, secrets, tales, trepidations, speculations, Bible verses. Can I please get from you, Agnito, another smarts check? All right, I will take, go ahead and go with an investigation. Agnito, you are making incredible progress and are almost done with your cube, getting things lined up. You're matching faces and colors as the symbols Father Carter pointed out to you in their associations. But it does get trickier as you go. And the good marshal, you find on the outskirts the bones of an armadillo and nothing else. As far as surveying, it looks like you have searched out, found all the potential items of interest. One thing that you do note, you come to realize the points where you had found, you don't know if it's of any significance or not, but the points where you found the puzzle cubes that you believe to be for early learning were on the outskirts. More on the inside were things functional toward what appears to be this structure. Further out were things more functional, maybe socially. It may or may not have any bearing, could be in just an arrangement of their society or their structure, but it's a thing that you note as you ponder where you've been and where you go. And in the meanwhile, good Father Kata, you are up to what exactly? Hmm. Is there anything you are specifically invoking, or any particular saint, or is it a chore like prayer, like your kind of a daily supplication, if you will? love that so much. No, I really like the flavor of it, and whether you know it or not, how prophetic your words are. It's just beautiful. With everybody's combined efforts here, I would like everyone to award themselves one red Benny. I'm sorry. Muy excelente. It might be. They are the rarest occurrence, even though the blue ones are the best. At least that I find. Well, because you guys get a blue one for recap and when you hit your goals. So, but yeah, the red ones too. Oh yeah. Well, and yeah, Fallout's designed to have action point use. Like, dive in there, get it. You may. And will you be focused in on that till we get to the nightfall? Excellent. And I am noting your successes, so don't worry. You are getting ever so closer. You're feeling very confident. That being said, final clicking remains just out of your reach at the moment. Because every once in a while you have to backtrack a little bit and do some other switchy clicky, but definitely making your way around. Blessed art thou. Of course. And Marshal Rankins, with the horses well cared and the place pretty well scoured out, anything else you might be up to in the closing hours? Agnito had offered up tobacco. Or, well, I don't want to say that. Mentioned he had tobacco, but I didn't. I don't want to volunteer it if that wasn't your intent, sir. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So Agnito's setting up a communal area then to share in. Um, did we? I thought that we had previously defined your tobacco of choice, or did we not? Am I inventing things? Yeah, it is pretty fresh because, like, this place here is, kind of odorless. If you were to, like, squeeze on some of the shrubberies, you get a little bit of a smell, of course. But besides that, yeah, it's just kind of devoid of sensation other than the sun radiating off the sand. Nice and warm if you want to sink your toes into it. Alas, you do not see any birds flying over. Of course, there is a fair fog kind of separating you that lingers above in the rim of this here canyon. A lack of aerial targets. Alrighty. And is it between the three of you, besides, of course, Father sharing some wisdom, is it quiet? Do you share in conversation? Do you talk about building plans for Hadleyburg when you make it back there, if you survive? Uh, just any kind of conversations or anything that go on. Small chat here and there. Or are you in a mood to be quiet? Reminding him again about going out scouting by himself. So, as far as his willingness for assassination targets, he didn't have a code of like no women and children or anything like that. He did take out entire families, plural, on hire for someone else's political or gain, other kind of gain. Stealing or killing the cattle, eliminating, because hustling or rustling would be keeping them alive, sniping would be taking out. So rather than like stealing someone's cattle, you kill them, and then so it sends a signal and also removes somebody of their livelihood in most cases. So it's a way of bringing somebody to destitution without getting your hands on them directly. Roundabout way of subterfuge, if you will. And he'd be hired essentially as like as a mercenary, like yeah. He was no man, he was an animal. Well, your reverie will be as things become a little bit somber after talking about spirits being dragged into hell, almost as if on cue. Of course, you notice the sun is broken, things are starting to dim, moon is light starting to shine, things fading out. And when the moon is visible above the rim of the canyon, the well in the middle begins to glow, and it intensifies slowly at first and then brightly. The ground all around you is beginning to shake. The walls you may be leaning against, sitting casually, you may not be, begin to crumble, pieces falling. All of the walls, the ground shaking beneath your feet. Not impossible to stand, but difficult, balance shaken. You feel the shaking in the pillar itself. Which one are you grabbing onto, sir? Okay. That one being the central pillar. You realize the other two pillars are also crumbling, sinking into the ground. Marshal Rankins and Agnito, you will observe Father Carter holding onto the central pillar, which is flaking and beginning to rise while Father Carter's holding on. You can let go at any time, you're not stuck, but it is beginning to rise. All right. Marshall and Agnito, the sand beneath your feet is beginning to shift and fall away, similar to the way the water had dissipated. And you realize there is around you the formation of a completely new structure. And with the fog cleared, you see to the north, stairwell rising up the plateau. That was not there before. You'll see to the right of the maze a new picture, if you would like a visual. When the structure completes and the ground settles, a light beams directly upward into the sky. And as that light fades, you see distant and above a light glow and then fade, as if it were responsive. Conveniently in the direction of the stairs. Yeah. They're not stolen, they're borrowed or inherited fairly. Yeah. All right. So, the trek up the stairs, as you're making your way upward, you can see at the top of the plateau the end of the stairs. You can see below you the start of the stairs where you began. But as you go, it feels very much like it is taking longer, like you're not making progress. It feels like by the time you reach the top, you just feel out of sync. And you realize the sun is shining yet again. You made a simple trek upstairs that should have taken minutes, but it seems hours have passed. And when you crest to the top of the plateau, two of you will know that you've reached a landmark upon the map. Magneto, you'll simply be fascinated from an archaeological perspective. Yes, so as you guys are scrolling down on the map, uh, we will be beginning our next session with initiative, depending on how you want to engage and act and such. But you are welcome to, as you're coming in from a distance, you haven't disturbed anything. That which you may or may not see on the map hasn't seen or would be oblivious. But you are welcome privy to see and discuss as you approach very clearly. You are not alone here at this large ancient structure. If it wasn't for the great food you prepared, you might be exhausted and famished. Like yeah. Your pocket watch indicates it is noon. Well, it will be noon shortly. You're, maybe 17 minutes away from noon. That's awesome. Does that work from any point, like on the globe? No, I just mean like from, like if you're at the North Pole, does, is it equivalent? Okay. And I don't know, maybe it is consistent. I'm an idiot, so I don't know, but it's a curiosity, right? Cool. That's a really awesome trick. I want to test that out. I'll see if I can, if I have an opportunity sometime, I'll try to keep that in mind, play around with it. Anyway. Oh, yeah, me too. And thank you so much because I hate missing sessions. I wanted to get started right away as soon as I could. So I'm definitely glad we've got Esper tomorrow, and then Fallout Friday, and so so the internet is supposed to be installed tomorrow or Friday maybe, so I'm gonna try to take it easy on the hotspot. Like I've been watching YouTube on the phone instead of like casting it or hotspotting it. That way it's not using hotspot allotment because I don't know where that is and where it'll cut off. So I'm, yeah, trepidatious about that. Oh goodness. No, I love dogs, but getting licked like that. That's rough. Get it? Rough. Yeah. This will get his attention. Indeed. There's a game farm in near here, and they had buffalo there, and they'd lick the window. Like you feed them bread out the window and stuff, and drive through the place. And there's yeah, game, mama, game farm, and so you'd feed them. And these aren't yeah right. That's awesome. Yeah, there were yeah, there were bears out there. I don't think lions or tigers, but buffalo and other stuff. But or bison. Again, I don't know. I because some of those went extinct and stuff. Anyway, that type of horned hooved creature that's big, they come up and lick the window, and you feed them bread and stuff, and they're intimidating. So like sometimes like I've seen kids cry, and I've also seen people like giggle, like it's the same thing, different reactions, but it's fun. The licking though, like yeah, that's always what I think of is one of those doing it. Like, oh God. Because I mean they are it's a sight to see. They're bulky and yeah. No, that would be I wouldn't want to necessarily see a bear fight in person if I'm close enough to watch a bear fight. Like if it's in a cage, it's probably wrong, and if it's in nature, then I'm lost. Yeah. Yeah, like the shuddering across because you can see like the fur ripple. Yeah. No. Like people who used to wrestle bears in like the circus and stuff or like special events like those were trained cuddly circus bears. Those are not bears. Yeah. And even then like I mean what was it, Roy I think got like his tiger bit him, dragged him off stage and stuff. Like you still can't trust Siegfried and Roy's Roy. Ah, oops, too much drag. Fragile Roy. Yeah. It's strange to have like a creature like that out of its habitat too. Yeah, thank you guys so much for your patience and things getting going and stuff. Glad to be back. So, oh wow. Best of luck to you, sir. Nothing wrong with a backup plan. You can always turn down a call from a backup plan if it doesn't work out. Yeah. Status update. Yeah, absolutely. All right, everyone have a great evening.